We're live. Hi, I'm George Thomas with the Akron Beacon Journal with Marla Ridenour from the Akron Beacon Journal in your lower left, is it? Nate Ulrich next to her. And Steve Dorshek from the Canton Repository or something. This live is not good. Repository in the upper right. And I'll take Paul Lynn for the center square, please. But we're going to analyze or try to analyze, given that I'm a bit fluky right now, the Browns win over the Indianapolis Colts. And part of me wanted to say Baltimore right then and there. That's how old I am. Let's start with Marla. What are we thinking with this particular game? What happened out there today?
Well, it's kind of hard to believe that just when, this team, like just when you think they're on the brink of blowing it, they're pulling it out. I mean, it's like, what are you watching? It's kind of almost hard to comprehend, but I do feel like they're showing that they're building what it takes to be a legitimate playoff contender, a legitimate, team that can win some sort of titles. Maybe not ready for the Super Bowl, but I mean, you just like everything, and it's continuing to happen even with all the injuries. I mean, it's just they feel legit. They really do. They feel this 4-1 doesn't feel like they're just beating up on, teams that aren't that good. I mean, the Colts came in with the number one defense. They had a hard time running the ball, but they still ran for I think 124 yards or something. So I mean, it looks like they have the right coach. It looks like they have the right, some talent. They have the chemistry. It's really, they really seem to be building something here, and it feels real.
And they did so today, and they lost a lot of, I won't say a lot, but they lost some key players in serious circumstances. And we saw something today that we're not used to seeing. And that's when a hole is there. Generally, nobody comes in and plugs it. Today, that happened. It's happened in other games this year. But everybody who was called upon today stepped up. Baker Mayfield mentioned that in his post-game press conference. What say you, Nate?
Yeah, I asked him about that theme because let's kind of run through it here. Carl Joseph was out with a hamstring injury. He was inactive today. So Ronnie Harrison started in his place. Harrison had a pick six in the third quarter. Harrison had a concussion in the game too, so Jedrick Wills got to play, and he had an interception in the fourth quarter. D'Ernest Johnson obviously ascending to the number 2 running back role with Nick Chubb out after that MCL injury in Dallas. D'Ernest Johnson ripped off a huge run to set up the final field goal in the fourth quarter. On a 3rd and 9, it was a 28-yard rush. I'm forgetting somebody now off the top of my head. Oh, Rashard Higgins. Rashard Higgins, Twitter's favorite. Rashard Higgins was inactive the previous 2 games. He was a healthy scratch. He finally gets some playing time with Kaderil Hodge out with a hamstring injury. And Rashard Higgins scores a touchdown in the second quarter. So I rattled all this off to Baker Mayfield, asking him about this underdog theme. And he said, you forgot about Chris Hubbard, because Wyatt Teller has been playing great football for the Browns at right guard, and he strained a calf. Kevin Stefanski said he's going to have an MRI tomorrow. That was in the first quarter. Chris Hubbard filled in at right guard. And Chris Hubbard's actually turned out to be very valuable here through 5 games. Let's not forget he started in place of Jack Conklin. I think that was week 2 against the Bengals. Played well at right tackle. So you can plug him in different spots, and he's been very serviceable for the Browns. And they love what he's given them, his depth. So I just think that there's something special, as Marla said, about a team that can have these guys capitalize on their opportunities, rise to the occasion, and contribute to the first 4-1 start for this team since 1994. I think it's a credit to those individual players, but I also think it's certainly a credit to Kevin Stefanski and his coaching staff. I remember him saying, we have to prepare our backups like starters, especially in the COVID-19 season. And I think they've done a good job of doing that. I think we're seeing the results on the field.
Steve, how special is it that a rookie like Jedrick Wills comes in? He's flopping positions, basically. He's been able to come in and contribute. You kept him in your sights most of the game, from what you said.
I did, George, and it was a pretty instructive day where I found out that Wills is used a couple of different ways. They like to use him and his athleticism so he can pull and follow a guard on certain plays, both to set up some runs and to create some deceptions on other runs. One of the times that Wills got out real quick and pulled real nice, everybody went with him, and Baker Mayfield came the other way on the classic buck naked boot, and they made a play off that action. And most of the day, George, what I found was that Wills handled himself real well against a Justin Houston who still has something left. He's not a 22 sack guy. Houston isn't the way he used to be, but he had 11 sacks last year, and I think he had 3.5 or so coming into this game. And that was Wills' matchup all day. And aside from Houston using his veteran wiles to set up Wills once or twice, lining up way wide and then making a quick deke for an outside rush and then beating Wills on the inside, I thought Wills comported himself really well. The backup to Houston was the guy who got the game's only sack, and there was only one sack against Mayfield. So I liked Wills, and that goes to the overall theme of the offensive line holding up. If I can make this quick point, this is kind of important, Marla. You talking about does this feel real? Nate, you talking about how they're going to do when somebody else has to step up. To both of those points, to me, Mike Pettine's 2014 team really seemed real. If they could have got a little more quarterback play out of Brian Hoyer and avoided the injury to Alex Mack, to me, that team destroyed Pittsburgh at this stadium right here and looked good doing it and had a good record at that point. And if Mack hadn't gone down in that game, who knows what would have happened. But the fact is that they, in the long run, didn't have enough quarterback to sustain a season. This year, I think they obviously can with their number one overall pick, Mayfield. But also the injuries they've had on the line. Yeah, Nate Hubbard, we all agree. We've been around Hubbard. He seems like a real swell fella. He's fun to talk to. Great guy, but there are a lot of great guys. You Marla and George and Nate, you're all great people, but you can't play right tackle either or guard. But he plays. He's playing, and he's really earning the money they're paying him, and that's one of the differences between 2014. It seemed real, and now they have replacements who can play.
Okay, everybody is on this theme is special. I get it. But here we go. Should Browns fans go into next week where they have to play Pittsburgh with any modicum of confidence in this team, do you think?
That's a big one, George. No, I don't think anybody has a load of confidence that the Browns can march into Pittsburgh and win for the first time since Jim Thorpe was playing for the Canton Bulldogs or whatever it's been. So, no, I don't. I mean, maybe it's in the back of all of our minds that they can, but I don't think there's any level of confidence that they will. So that's a huge game from that standpoint, a gigantic mental hurdle to overcome.
Yeah, I certainly won't pick them to beat Pittsburgh. Also, since we don't know, like Baker Mayfield had X-rays on his ribs, they were negative, but there's still got to be a question whether you're going to have Baker. I mean, he says, he's going to gut it out, but you don't know if it's not all up to him. So, I do feel like that would be the monstrous, victory if they could pull that off, considering the injuries and how Mayfield feels and all that. I really do feel like, I don't know if they're ready to win there yet, but I do. I mean, I looked it up. Big Ben's got a 93.9 quarterback rating in 26 games against the Browns. I mean, you know how he's been their nemesis. I think he's lost twice and tied one. So yeah, that's still going to be a tough order.
I agree. It will. I mean, the Steelers are 4-0 for the first time since 1979. But the Browns have been passing these tests, so I don't want to dismiss the possibility that they could pass another one. I'm with you guys, though, that it's not the likeliest outcome, but today they face the number one defense, and I know that the Pro Bowl linebacker Darius Leonard was out with a groin injury, so that's a big deal. But the Browns were without Nick Chubb, and so that's another one. I don't think we should, discount anything the Browns have done so far. They said that they were going to be able to win in a shootout, and I didn't think they were ready to do it, and they did it against the Cowboys. And then they did what they did today. I'm really looking forward to such a relevant Browns-Steelers game. It's been a long time.
Were you even alive?
Well, they played each other in the playoffs, so I was certainly alive. But I haven't been alive for a lot of them.
I had to just yank your chain a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the night. We all have writing to do. I've been accused of drinking on the job. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Yes, pure H2O. You guys have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow.
Thanks,
See you
George.
next time.
Thanks.